She vanished at the peak of her fame, blacklisted, silenced, dragged into lawsuits. And for 3 long years, her name disappeared from screens and headlines. But what they didn't expect was what came next. Because when Park Bo-young returned, she didn't just reappear, she rewrote the rules. Her comeback wasn't loud, but it was undeniable. And the way she did it? Pure brilliance masked in quiet resolve. This isn't just a rise, fall, rise story. It's a lesson in persistence, pain, and power. Let's rewind to the beginning. Park Bo-young wasn't born into the spotlight. She grew up in Jungpyeong County, a sleepy rural town with more rice paddies than red carpets. Her father was a career military man, a special forces officer known for his discipline. And that strictness bled into the household. Acting wasn't something a soldier's daughter was expected to pursue. But Bo-young had always been different. Soft-spoken, observant, rarely the loudest in the room. But when she had a dream, she chased it. And she didn't stop. That quiet fire led her to audition after audition, even when people whispered that she was too plain, too quiet, too forgettable. Still, in 2006, she made her debut in a low-key teen drama called Secret Campus, sharing the screen with a then-unknown Lee Min-ho. At the time, it barely registered, but the groundwork was being laid for something seismic. Then came Scandal Makers, a film that changed everything. The role? Not what you'd expect a young, relatively unknown actress to take. She played a teenage single mom, tough, emotionally guarded, and forced to grow up too fast. Her co-star was Cha Tae-hyun, a veteran of comedy, known and beloved across Korea. Park Bo-young, still in her teens, held her own. No, she stole the spotlight. It wasn't just acting, it was raw emotion. She bared heartbreak, carried anger, and somehow made it all feel real. Over 8.3 million tickets sold. Critics were floored, audiences were captivated, and just like that, Korea had a new darling. The industry christened her the nation's little sister, a title loaded with expectation, purity, and pressure. But she wore it with quiet grace. She swept every Best New Actress award that season like she'd been preparing her whole life. But even as everyone around her celebrated, trouble was brewing behind the scenes. In 2010, just as she was poised to leap into full-blown superstardom, everything fell apart. Bo-young accused her agency of forging her signature using her personal seal, essentially trapping her in an unfair contract without consent. In retaliation, the agency sued her for defamation. At the same time, a production company alleged she took money for a role she never fulfilled. The headlines were brutal. Her character was questioned, and while the courts eventually cleared her, no fraud, no wrongdoing, no scandal. The damage was already done. The industry turned cold. Between 2009 and 2012, Park Bo-young was blacklisted. No acting offers, no red carpets, not even interviews. She had gone from Korea's sweetheart to invisible almost overnight, but silence has its uses. While the industry moved on to newer faces and louder voices, Bo-young was quietly rebuilding. And in 2012, she made a move no one expected. A Werewolf Boy dropped in theaters without much hype. No one thought it would do well. The genre was strange, the premise odd. But within 16 days, the film had surpassed 4 million admissions. It exploded. And with it, Bo-young proved she was back. But more importantly, she proved she was better, stronger, sharper. Not content to ride nostalgia, she challenged herself. She didn't pick safe or predictable roles. She chased complexity, and the audience followed. In Oh My Ghost, she tackled one of her most difficult characters to date. 2 characters, actually. A painfully shy sous chef who becomes possessed by a confident, flirty ghost. She had to balance vulnerability and sass in the same breath, often switching personas in a single scene. It worked. Viewers were hooked. The show went viral. By the end, she was earning $22,000 per episode, one of the highest rates for a female lead in K-drama history. And once again, she was sweeping awards, not as a newcomer this time, but as a comeback queen. Then came strongwoman Do Bong-soon, the role that pushed her into legend status, a pint-sized woman with impossible strength, a love for pink sweaters, and the ability to launch grown men into the air with one hand. It was bizarre, funny, romantic, and surprisingly heartfelt. Bo Young carried it effortlessly. The show became a phenomenon, one of the highest-rated cable dramas ever in Korea. Memes exploded. Catchphrases caught fire. Everyone wanted to be Bong-soon, or be with her. But behind the laughter and on-screen charm, Bo Young was facing something darker. In interviews during this period, she started opening up about what fame had really cost her. She spoke, carefully, quietly, about the weight of criticism. Not the kind that comes from directors or coworkers, but the faceless kind. Online trolls, anonymous commenters, people who picked apart her voice, her face, her expressions. She admitted it shook her, that she'd read the hate at night and then spiral into self-doubt. Crying alone, obsessing over scenes she thought were fine in the moment, but now seemed flawed under scrutiny. It wasn't just pressure, it was torment. But Park Bo-young doesn't fold. When the messages crossed the line, like graphic, invasive, personal, she didn't stay quiet. She took legal action. No public outrage, no lengthy social media posts. Just a simple, firm message. This won't be tolerated. She filed charges against cyberbullies and stalkers, and in doing so, she shifted the narrative. She wasn't just protecting herself, she was setting a precedent. She showed that grace doesn't mean silence, and kindness doesn't mean passivity. Since then, she's only grown. From abyss to doom at your service to daily dose of sunshine, she's explored different shades of humanity: love, grief, identity, mental health. Each role revealing a new layer. And then came Our Unwritten Souls. A complicated story with twin sisters pretending to be each other while pretending to be themselves. Sounds confusing? It should be. But somehow Bo Young makes it seamless. 4 personas, 1 actress, a global hit. Within days of release, it landed in Netflix's top 3 worldwide. No scandals, no fanfare, just raw skill. And that's the thing about Park Bo-young. She never needed a shout to be heard. While others chased clout, she built longevity. While peers sparked headlines, she sharpened her craft. And when storms came, and they came hard, she didn't burn bridges or play the victim. She waited, she worked, and then she won. She's not just a survivor, she's the standard. The one who reminds us that strength doesn't always show up with fists or fury. Sometimes it's a soft voice refusing to go unheard. A gentle presence that outlasts every trend. A rose beautiful, but unafraid to show its thorns. So the next time someone wonders how she's still relevant after all these years, you tell them this. Real power doesn't need to announce itself. It just shows up. Again, and wins. Every time. If this story gave you chills, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop your favorite Park Bo-young role in the comments. Because this isn't just a comeback. It's a blueprint for resilience. And she's just getting started.